we originally came into this thinking it's like, oh, we're just gonna go wherever it takes us and not book anything ahead of time and book like night of. It's like we would be stressed out of our minds the whole time, and we wouldn't enjoy a single minute of it if we did that. Alright, what's going on, everybody? I was just editing this video and I realized we never told you how we ended up getting to Schwerin, because right now you guys are in Bremen. But we wanted to jump forward and edit this video and push it in the middle because we got a lot of feedback on it and we wanted to get it out to you guys quickly. But as soon as this video is over, we're going to be back in Bremen, and the next video is really cool, so make sure you check that one out. But yeah, so here comes the Q&A. What's going on, everybody?
Hello! So today we're going to be filming our Q&A that we talked about in our Instagram. Thank you so much to everyone that asked questions. We got
a lot more questions than we thought we were going to get.
Yeah, so thank you so much.
We kind of went to sleep at night because we're flip-flopped, you know? When we're sleeping, you're awake. When you're awake.
Well, if you're in the States.
Yeah. But we're going to sleep. I don't know if anybody's going to ask any questions. We probably won't film it. And then we woke up and it's like a ton. You know, we're not going to be able to get to all of them.
Yeah, well, wait. How we're going to do it is we're going to break it up a little bit. So I tried to get at least one question from every person that asked in this video. I did kind of squish some questions together that like went together, so it might not be worded exactly how you asked, but we will be answering it.
Yeah, a lot of the questions were pretty similar. We can group them pretty good.
Yeah, and then anything extra we're going to film for IGTV. So if you ask other questions that you're interested about, it will be answered. It'll just be on IGTV instead of this video.
And if you have any other questions, you can just message us and we'll just message you back, you know.
Yeah. We'll go ahead and get started.
Question number one.
Question number one. What made you want to do this trip? What inspired/motivated you? Me go first?
You go first.
So we have always talked about doing something like this pretty much since we've been married.
Yeah.
And we wanted to do it while we were young, before we had kids. And we kind of just figured now's the time. So we saved up and made it happen.
Yeah. And it originally, like, probably all started when we went on our honeymoon. We went on a honeymoon to Maui. And it was just something different. Neither of us had been there before. It was way different than home, and we just loved it. You know, so that's probably when we caught the, I guess, the travel bug, I guess.
So then we started doing trips every single year all over the place.
Yeah.
And then...
But what I was going to say was we wanted to move to Maui. Like, that was our plan, was we wanted to move to Maui for a year, I think was what we were talking about. But then as we went on different trips, we did like a 2-week road trip, and then we went to Mexico City.
We went to Belize.
We did a road trip from Alaska. And then we're like, Canada. Man, we just like traveling, you know? It's not, I don't know if we want to move somewhere. I think we just want to travel.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Question number 2. Have you planned most of your destinations?
Negatory.
No.
No, we planned very little.
Yeah,
actually.
we plan about 2 weeks out at a time. We have certain places we want to be at a certain time. That's kind of how we gauge the places to go in between.
Yeah. We have like a couple, like we want to go to Croatia, you know, but that's a whole country. So we know that we want to go down there in that general area. So then we can kind of piece together, you know, along the way what we want to hit. Yeah.
And then this question kind of went along with it. How did you pick cities to stay in? Which is interesting. I feel like a lot of it is we're traveling on foot, so we have to find places that we can get to with public transportation, trains, buses.
Which is pretty good. It's pretty good over here. You can get
it's super
a lot
easy.
Of places.
But mostly it's the bigger cities that, you know, they'll hit along the way. So that's kind of how we figured out where we're going to be going. We just look up cities along the path that we're taking and find cool places.
We try to find smaller cities. Like Schwerin is a pretty small city. Ghent was a small city.
I'd say Schwerin's kind of big, actually.
Nah.
But yeah, and also lodging. We look for cheaper lodging. Yeah. We do use Air BnB, and we try to find areas that are going to be cheaper.
So I guess like the way it kind of looks for us is, for the beginning portion of our trip, we knew we were going to fly into Brussels. And the reason we picked Brussels was because it was cheap airfare. That's the only reason we picked it. And then we knew we were going to be in Denmark on middle of June. So then from there we have, like a month or so where we need to book, and we know where we're starting, where we need to go. So then we kind of pick places along the way that we look up and say, that looks cool. So I guess like the first criteria is, does it look cool? Is it somewhere we think we're going to want to go? And then it's, can we get there with public transportation? And then if we can get there, then can we get an Airbnb or a hostel for a good price? And then if all three of those, are there, then we book it.
Yeah.
But we've had places that we wanted to go to, but we couldn't get there. And then we've had places that we wanted to go to, we could get there, but then it was just way out of budget. So we just couldn't do it,
Yeah. And also, we asked on Instagram in the very beginning, we asked for some like suggestions of places that people had been that they loved, and that's been really helpful to look back on and fill in places in between that we hadn't thought about yet.
So keep them coming.
Yes, give us suggestions. So next question is, do you have a daily budget, and how did you estimate it?
Yeah.
Yes, we have a daily budget.
$125 a day is what we did. And
which, for the most part, we've come under budget for.
Yeah, which was part of the plan. We kind of planned that in. We thought we could do less than 125, but 125 kind of gives us our safety net.
And if we want to do something like an excursion or something, we have enough saved under budget to do the excursion, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, the whole goal is to come in under budget every day.
Yeah.
Then if we want to do something big, we can pay for it, and we're still under budget for the whole trip.
And how did you come up with that budget?
Oh, I came up with it because I read 2 books. One was called How to Travel on $50 a Day, and then another one was Not Afraid of the Fall. And that was a couple from Colorado that it was kind of like their journal notes through their trip. But the $50 a day, trip. Yeah, the $50 a day is pretty self-explanatory. The whole concept of the book is that one person can travel for $50 a day for an extended period of time. But in that book, that's like going to very cheap regions is, well, not necessarily. I mean, you can do $50 a day in Western Europe too, but it was like going to cheaper regions and then staying in like dorm rooms and hostels. So we kind of looked at that and we're like, I don't know if that's something that we are going to want to do for 6 months, especially as a married couple. We don't want to stay in shared room hostels all the time. So that, well, we need a little bit more than $100 a day because of 50 for each, And then the other book, Not Afraid of the Fall, they did $150 a day for 4 months. And just reading through that book, it's like,
they were kind of living big.
Yeah, they lived pretty. They
shopped a lot.
Luxurious.
They went out to drinks a lot.
So then we're like, well, we don't need $150 a day, so just meet in the middle, $125, and it's pretty good.
Yeah,
I would say
really
it's like perfect,
Yeah.
As far as it's very realistic, and it's reasonable, and it's easy to come in under budget.
Yeah.
Next question.
How long did it take you to save, and how did you save? This is kind of tough. I'll start with how did you save? We kind of just live below our means, below our budget daily anyways. And the biggest thing that has helped us save for this trip is about a year ago, we bought a travel trailer from someone that we knew for a cheap price and converted it into a tiny home, into something we could live in. And we've been living in that for the past 25
feet, one slide.
Yeah, and so we've been living in that for the past 10 months before we did this. We park it on my Nana's property, pay really cheap in rent, so that's been the biggest factor in helping us.
That was huge. But I would say probably that we've been saving since we got married, because we knew right away we wanted to do something. But that involved, like, we had a little bit of student loans, so we got rid of that. And then...
Yeah, this goes into how did you save?
Oh, yeah. And then the big thing for us is we just stayed debt-free, the whole time. So we don't have any debt. We paid for all of our cars outright.
Yeah, we just have old cars that we could pay for out of pocket. We paid for our phones outright. We saved to pay for them. So we didn't have any payments.
Never had cable. We don't have a TV now. We don't have internet. There's a lot of things that go into it. There's a lot of like sacrifices that you have to make. But for us, it's worth it to do this.
And I like living small.
Yeah. And then, but for a lot of people, it's not going to be worth it.
Yeah.
Because like for us, we had to do, in the trailer, we had to do stuff like, we had like a 5-gallon hot water tank. So you're taking cold showers a lot. You have to like walk down the road to go to the bathroom. And then, what else?
You're just living tiny. We had to get rid of tons of our stuff.
We had 200 square feet really to live in. but it's worth it for us.
Yeah. So I would say how long it took. It really, really hardcore saving, about a year.
Yeah. If we had been in the trailer the whole time, you know, we could do it in a year. Like, we could go back home, live in the trailer, and save up for a year, and we could do it again.
But we've been saving. We've had a savings account since we've been married, so it's kind of hard to say. I would say a year is a good estimate, though. When did you start planning this trip, and why did you pick 6 months? So we really started planning not that long ago.
Yeah.
I mean, we bought our tickets not that long ago. Like we said, we've been talking about it forever, but as far as like actually planning it, not that long before we came.
Even like up until we went to Hawaii in January, I think, January, and loved it there. We were on the Big Island, and then we were talking like then again we were like, man, we might want to move here.
Yeah.
But then like a week later we had a trip to Belize, and so we were talking. It was like, okay, so this is gonna decide if we want to try to move to Hawaii or if we want to travel. Which one do we like end up not liking more? We like them both the same, but you know, which one kind of feel it out? Which one do we want to do? And we both thought after we left Hawaii, it's like, man, we're gonna move to Hawaii. We don't want to travel. Well, we want to travel, but we don't want to do that instead. And then we went to Belize and had a blast, you know. And then we decided, both of us, like we want to travel.
Yeah.
So that was like February. It's probably February is when we really started planning.
And then we left in May. Yeah. So just a few months.
And why did we pick 6 months? Because of the budget. I mean, we came up with $125 a day, and then we're like, okay, this is how long we can do it, and then still have money when we come back to get ourselves back on our feet. Yeah. And then 6 months sounds cool, so we picked 6 months.
And it's kind of a rough estimate. You know, we might do less, we might
do more.
We have a safety net to fall back on if we did want to do a little bit more, but we would also might want to do less. So it was kind of just like a rough estimate and what we had enough to do. We had enough money to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
So there's 2 questions in here that I'm going to let you guys know that we're going to answer in our What's in Your Bag video. One of them is, how did you condense everything into one bag? And the other was, did you pack adequately, and anything that you wish that you would have left or brought along with you? So those 2 we will answer in that video.
Yeah. And we're going to film that pretty soon. Maybe tomorrow.
Yeah.
But while we're here in Schwerin, we're going to film it. So that'll be there pretty soon.
Yeah. So next question is, do you work remotely / are you making income while traveling?
Negatory.
No. We do not make income while traveling. We just saved. We worked full time and saved for this trip before we came on the trip. We do social media because we enjoy doing it. I guess you would say
that's our job, but we don't make any money. We don't make a dime.
No, it's just for fun because we like doing it, and we wanted to document all of our travels. Going along with that, what jobs did you leave behind, and will you be able to return to them?
I was a marine electrician, so just what it sounds like. Just an electrician on big boats.
And I was a receptionist, and it sounds like we will both have the opportunity to return if that's the path that we take.
Yeah. I don't know if we want to. Well, I don't want to.
I want to, but
she wants to.
Yeah.
We'll see, though.
The next question is, do you get stressed while traveling? Yes.
Yeah, we didn't think we would.
Yeah, when you think about it, it doesn't sound like you'd get stressed, but it's not like a vacation.
Yeah, it's way different than a vacation.
There's so much planning that goes into it. There's so much research that goes into it. So you're not ever not thinking about what you're going to be doing next. You're always thinking about what you're going to be doing next.
We originally came into this thinking it's like, oh, we're just going to go wherever it takes us and not book anything ahead of time and book like night of. It's like we would be stressed out of our minds the whole time, and we wouldn't enjoy a single minute of it if we did that.
Yeah.
Because there's just so many logistics that go into a long trip like this.
Yeah.
You can't, like, if you're going on a shorter trip, you can just book everything ahead of time at home if that's what you want to do. And at the very least, all you have to do is worry about a week or 2 weeks. But here, it's like it feels like it's never ending, you know? And
which is part of the fun of it.
It's fun.
It really is, but it is stressful, you know.
And especially if you want to stay cheap, if you're trying to do the whole thing pretty cheap, then you have to look into so much more stuff and go to different avenues, you know, and book things that way. Yeah.
The next questions are a little bit different. The first one is, how did you meet?
How did we meet? In high school.
Yeah.
I was 16, she was 15. Only dated me because I could drive, had my license. and a sweet ride.
No.
92 Nissan Sentra.
No. So yeah, high school sweethearts. We've been together for
And that car had the
7.5 years.
seatbelts that you never see it anymore, but it had like automatic seatbelts. But it would like come like this, you know. You turn your key in there, and then
Why are
you
we
still have to
talking
do the
about the
lap
car?
belt. It's a sweet ride, sweet ride.
And then the other question that went along with it was, have you learned anything new about each other since traveling?
No.
Not really.
I feel like I should say yes, but no.
We lived, you know, in such a small space together, so it's not like we weren't used to being around each other, and we've done so many trips that are extended.
Yeah, a 2-week road trip in my parents' van. Shout out to the White Rhino.
A minivan.
Yeah. And then we did that like week and a half road trip back from Alaska.
Yeah.
With 4 people in a little Audi A4 and a Minion that's like that tall. Like big, huge Minion. So that was cramped too. So we spent a lot of time together in close quarters before. So. And
I feel like from that we've been able to learn, you know, when to give each other space, but I feel like we just work pretty well together. So. Next question is a really good one. How are you doing with the language barrier? It's been okay. Most of the time people speak a little bit of English, so they'll try to help you.
Yeah.
There's so many different languages that you hear when you're traveling throughout Europe, so it's hard. You can't like get used to one, you know.
It's a lot of people speak enough English to get by, even though
to help us get by.
Yeah, for us to get by. Even though I feel like the burden is on us, obviously, to know their language. I don't expect other people to speak our language, you know, to us, but they do. Most places we've gone so far, so that.
For me, the hardest. Helps. Yeah, for me the hardest part has been food because of allergies. So. Yeah,
I can walk into any place and just order something off the menu, or say I'll like take what that guy's getting, but she can't do that because you just don't know. Yeah. She has no idea what it's gonna have, cheese or dairy or anything.
Yeah, so
and
I
then
have to
it'll
be really
ruin the day.
Yeah, then I'll be in for the rest of the day. So that's been the hardest part for me. And it's happened. You guys saw one of the videos where we ordered something and I bit into it and it was cheese filled, and I was really disappointed.
It wasn't even good though. You didn't miss out, so you wasn't good.
This is a funny question, and I did not know this was a thing. Do they really serve beer at the McDonald's?
We've never heard of this before, so we did some research.
Just for this question, we went to the 2 McDonald's around. They were both in like shopping centers, so they weren't like a real McDonald's.
It wasn't like a real like. Didn't have a drive-through. You didn't like walk in. There was no seating, so it's hard to say.
But neither of them had beers. But we're gonna be on the lookout now. Everywhere we see a McDonald's, we're gonna go in and see if there's beer.
We're gonna keep looking. I wouldn't be surprised. Wouldn't be surprised at all.
No.
If they did.
So we'll keep you guys updated.
But so far, the answer is no.
Yeah.
Good question. Good question.
That's a funny one. The last question I wanted to end on, I thought this was a good closing question. What do you hope to get out of this trip and share with others? You go first. What do I hope to get out of this trip? We've always wanted to do something like this. We've been talking about it forever. So I wanted to live without the regret of not doing it. You know, I didn't want to tell people, oh, I wish I would have done something like that, or, you know, tell my kids or whatever that we talked about it but never did it.
That's something that we say a lot is like we don't want to one day tell our grandkids that, oh, we talked about going on a 6-month trip to Europe. You know, like you want to be able to tell them, like we went on a 6-month trip to Europe and show them pictures and tell them about it and stuff.
Yeah, so
that'd be cool for us, you know.
Yeah.
But if you don't like travel, who cares? You know.
Right.
You know?
That's what I wanted. I wanted to live without the regret of not doing it, and obviously, I want to be more culturally
enriched.
Enriched. Good wording. Culturally enriched. I like to see the way other people live and experience, you know, the foods and the culture and everything like that. So yeah, that's what I hope to get out of this trip. What about you?
I'm pretty much the same. We didn't want to, like we've been talking about it for so long, we didn't want to not do it, you know. I felt like that would be almost embarrassing to us, even though we didn't like tell anybody. Like we would always know like we never did it. And then like I like seeing the different cultures too. And it's always interesting for me to see, like, no matter where you go and the people that you meet there, it's like that's their normal everyday life, you know. And you could be third world country, first world country, and like everybody there, that's just a normal life for them. And it's really weird to think like they would come into our lives and say, man, how do you live like that, you know, or that's weird, why do you do stuff like that?
Yeah,
it's very interesting to me.
Yeah.
And then I guess the last thing is just if you want to travel, like I said, if you don't want to travel, don't travel. There's no need to. But if you do, and you think it's too expensive, hopefully this will kind of show you like, oh, it's really not that expensive. You know, you can do it if you really want to.
Even if you want to just do like a month or 2 months, that's that's an extended long-term trip.
And there's a lot of stuff that you can do to make it cheaper. And I mean, we're two average Joes working average jobs.
Just kids.
And we were able to do it, you know, because we wanted to.
Yeah, I hope to share with others that same thing. I hope to inspire, not just for traveling, but just inspire you to chase after your dreams and do the things that you want to do in life, and hopefully live without regrets. As well as if you can't travel for some reason, or you've always wanted to and you're not able to, hope you can like see it through our eyes and feel like you're here too. That's what I kind of hope with our videos, is that it like feels like you're there with us.
And hopefully we can show you like the cool parts of travel, but then also like the little stuff that you wouldn't think about before, because that's what we like seeing when we watch other people do this kind of stuff. Is kind of like the everyday, like day in the life, what they do.
Yeah. And that wraps her all up. So if your question wasn't on here, check IGTV. It'll be on there. We're gonna film that right now to kind of wrap up all the questions. Hopefully that was helpful for you guys. It was really fun for us to get all these.
That was fun. It was nice doing a different video like that.
Yeah. So thank you again.
Yeah, thanks for all of the questions. Thank you for subscribing, everybody that has. And yeah.
And following along.
We will see you guys in the next video.
Obstacle course. Come on, book in my nose.
No.
Sure.
Bloop.